Hello everyone, my name is Jen and welcome to the book Refuge and welcome to another recommendations video where again, I'm so excited to talk about some of these books, but I'm going to be good because these recommendation videos, they're supposed to be quicker and they're already starting to get longer and longer, and that's not good. That's not good. Jen's got to be better at that. So we are diving right in with today's topic, which is books with a pining hero. This can look quite different. Sometimes we see all the pining happen within the book. Sometimes this has been happening for years before we even get to the book. But I always like when a hero is pining the best. Sometimes it's okay for a heroine to be pining, but in all honesty, I like when the man is pining the best, which would be why people request books with a pining hero. So let's go ahead and dive in. Let's start with a couple contemporaries I have, then I actually have a couple fantasy books, and then we'll round it out with historical. So let's get started. The first one I want to show real quick is Right by Jana Aston. This is part of her Wrong series, Right and Wrong series, but they all kind of like stand alone. So Wrong is about this girl named Everly, which I will always remember because I have a niece named Everly, and it was funny to me to find that name in this book. And she has been in love with her brother's best friend for a very long time. And you think there might be pining there? No, 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 no. This guy that she's in love with, her brother's best friend, actually has an older brother who's been a little obsessed with her. He's been watching her fawn over his younger brother for a while now, and he just can't get why this wonderful smart girl is pining after his brother, who is never going to give her the time of day. So after a particularly awkward Thanksgiving, he is the one who offers to give her a ride back home to their hometown because, like, she lives in the same city as he does. And on that drive, he lays out his case for why they should be together. And it turns out he's been keeping his eye on her for quite a while. Then there is Not So Nice Guy by R.S. Gray. This one involves a little bit of mutual pining, but when we're in the hero's head and we see just how much he cares for her, it to me becomes really like his pining book. This one is actually, this one's a Friends to Lovers. This one is about, oh, where'd it go? I hate when the back cover, when it's like in their POV. Sam and Ian, they're teachers together. I think they're both like 26, and they have become each other's best friends, and they are currently both single, but a new fill-in teacher starts, and Sam is supposed to show this teacher around. She eyes up Ian over there, and she's like, is he single? And she says yes. Now, everyone at this school kind of assumed that Ian and Sam were together. So there's this bit of an awkward situation where now he's like open season. And no, 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 no. Ian does not like that because he wants to be with Sam and he's been biding his time. And now all these girls are coming for him. All these single teachers who are just ready to snack on him. And he's like, hold up, hold up. It appears that my slow courtship of you is not working, so it's time to step up my game. And I really appreciated that about Ian. Then we have Grip by Kennedy Ryan. This is technically book 2 in the Grip series. Personally, I think you can start with Flow or start with Grip if you would like to. It's up to you. Flow is a prequel about how these two first meet each other. Grip is a rapper. Bristol is his best friend's brother. And she, at the beginning of this book, is a manager for both Grip and her brother. They are musicians. And Grip, ever since he first met her all those years ago, has had a thing for Bristol. Now, he kind of fucked it up at that time. And so Bristol just doesn't have any patience for it, doesn't have any time for it. She's seen people in the industry mess up relationships. She's seen it with her parents, doesn't like it. And so she's not going to fuck around. But the thing is, Grip, he's been holding his torch a long time and he's not ready to go down without a fight. And when these two, when the spark finally lights, it is fucking explosive and this series is phenomenal. Okay, now let's move on to a couple fantasy books. And you know what? I'm doing it. I'm putting up A Court of Silver Flames because Cassian has been pining for this woman for quite a while. And we actually see him pine throughout this book. Well, he's trying to pretend that he's not pining. Well, he's trying to help this woman cope with the trauma she's been through. Well, he's trying to help her get to her breakthrough, her breaking point, and keep his cool. And Cassian is delightful, and I love him. and I don't care what anyone says. This book is amazing. I mean, most people think it's amazing, but people who are haters, that's fine if you're haters, but this book has so much pining, and it has a heroine who is the grumpy one. I wouldn't completely, well, Cassian kind of is the sunshine one. Like, that, I would maybe call this a sunshine and grumpy trope. But once it's time for her to snap for him, like, oh, it was beautiful. But I would definitely say that this book has pining. Then I actually have a little novella for you. This one is called The King's Spinster Bride, and it is by Ruby Dixon. I read this book on the recommendation of my sweet friend Avery. I just wanted a little bit of a treat, and this is only like 160 pages. This is an older woman, younger man. He has been in love with her. He has kept himself untouched and virginal so that he can be her first. He knows that she's going to be his first. Ever since, I don't want to say like too much, but the setup of this is what sold me, so I'll tell you as well, is that when he was a child, he had been kidnapped by her father. Her father was the king. She was the princess. She was like an older teenager, and he was 8 years old. And she kept him with her all the time to make sure that no one would try to sacrifice him or kill him or use him against his father. And when his father comes to conquer her father, her people want to kill him, and she protects him. And they're like, you realize that his father is going to make you a slave, going to make you, you know, torture you. And she's like, if my only act as queen is to protect him, I will do it. Fast forward 16 years later, our hero's father has died. It's time for him to become king. And our woman, she was not killed, but she was sent to a convent. And she believes that once he's made king, that he'll be coming to kill her. But no, he hasn't forgot the promise he made that he would repay his debt to her. And he comes and finds her and asks her to be his wife. And it's freaking beautiful. And you should definitely read it. I wish, oh God, I wish this book was 400 pages long. But I think for all of its beauty and its brevity is what can make it so powerful, because it was freaking amazing. Loved it. All right, now I got some historicals for you. Next, we have When He Was Wicked by Julia Quinn. This is book 6 in the Bridgerton series. This is about Francesca. Is it 6? Yes, I'm right. It's book 6. She is widowed, very young. Her husband's cousin has been in love with her at the same time that his cousin was. And so it was very hard for him to be around them. And then John dies of malaria, and it's very sad. And so now Michael is the heir, is the new Duke, Earl, whatever he is. Oh yeah, there's a back picture. I'll show you that, sorry. And he feels that he willed this to be, because he lusted after Francesca, that he wanted her so much, and now his cousin is dead, and he could have her, and he just can't. And so he goes away and travels for many years. And now Francesca sends him a letter saying that she wants to get married again. So would he please come to like take over his lands, because she's basically been running him while he's been gone, so that she may get back on the marriage mart and get married and have a baby, because she really wants a baby. And her and her husband, they'd been unsuccessful before, and now she's been alone all this time, and all her mourning periods are over, and she's ready to move on. She knows that John would want her to be happy. But however, what she's not prepared for is when Michael comes back to feel this attraction, because here's the thing, she wanted to get married again, but she didn't want to love anyone again. And so this one has a bit of mutual pining, but it definitely is, the hero has been pining for much longer, and he's dealt with a lot of guilt because of said pining. Then there's My Fake Rake by Ava Leigh. All right, I've had ups and downs with this series. I liked book 1, haven't read book 2, or I didn't like this one as much as I could have, and I'll tell you why, but it definitely has a pining hero, and it's pretty cute. So this one is a friends to lovers, and this one, our heroine is like a scientific mind. She is a naturalist, and she studies with Sebastian, who's her friend. And she's decided that she is falling in love with this other naturalist, and she wants to marry him because she's like, we'd be great together. We both like the same things. It'll be perfect. But she needs people to notice her. And so she asks Sebastian to, you know, help that happen. And so their plan for this happening is to have him seem like a super hunky dude and then be paying attention to her. So like a fake dating thing, so that this other guy will become interested in her. This plan is very sound, yes, but this hero is freaking in love with her. He's also a dirty talker when we get him in the sack. The part that frustrated me is that he was a little too timid for me, but he was very sweet. He's very unlike a lot of other heroes that I have read. And because I've read quite a few of Eva Leigh's books at this point, and I really do love this author, I feel confident recommending this book for you because a lot of people loved it. A lot of people did. We did this for the Rake Appreciation Society. It just didn't quite work for me the way that I would have hoped that it would have, but it's still very good. Then there is The Earl Takes All by Lorraine Heath. This one, if you haven't heard of this book already, this is in the Hellions of Havisham. You can read these ones in any order. But this one was about twin brothers. One of the brothers was married. The other brother is kind of seen as a rake hell and was a lot of trouble while his brother was the buttoned-up one. They go on a trip to Africa, and while they're there, the brother who's married gets mauled by a gorilla. And in his dying moments, he asks his brother to take his place and pretend to be him so that his wife won't think that she lost her husband and will hopefully be able to carry their child to term because they have had problems before. So this book is very powerful because of the sacrifices that this hero is willing to make. Here's another case of someone where he actually has wanted her since his brother was courting her, but he stepped aside. He played the rake. He did these things so that his brother would appear the better man, right? He was the rake hell brother. But now, literally, the woman he loves is dropped in his lap and has said, take care of my woman for me. And he can't have her. Because even if he were to tell the truth, and even if she were to love him for who he is, at this time in England, it was illegal to marry your dead brother's wife. So that law stands between them. This book is amazing. Lorraine Heath herself has said that this was a story she didn't know if she could give the couple a happy ending, but that was part of the journey for her. They do have a happy ending, fear not, but this definitely has a pining hero, and I love all the layers to this story. It's fucking fantastic. Then we got a Sarah MacLean. If we are talking pining heroes, we gotta have a Sarah MacLean. I've been talking about The Day of the Duchess quite a bit lately, so I decided to change it up and throw out The Daring and the Duke, because this one definitely has a pining hero. This one has Ewan, who was pining after this girl that he loved as a child, even when he thought she was dead all these years. So there is a whole lot of setup for this series that I'm not willing to do in this quicker recommendation that I'm doing, but this is the third one in the series. This is a series I kind of recommend you read in order just because I feel like you wouldn't get the same punch out of Ewan and Grace if you don't. But basically, he's loved her since they were kids, and he fucked up real bad. Not as bad as everybody thinks he did, because the man did have a plan, but the plan went awry, and now she pretended to be dead, and he hates their other friends who fucked this up. And yeah, it was amazing. And Ewan has a great grovel, and the way that he pursues our heroine was very admirable to me. He was amazing. I really loved Ewan. It was good. And then the last one I want to talk about, because you know there had to be a Lisa Kleypas. I hit all the big ones, right? MacLean, Quinn, Heath, and Leigh. And then we got Lisa Kleypas. And I'm picking again the magic because guess what? Guess what? I'm never going to stop recommending again the magic. It fits into so many tropes that I love. So if you haven't read this yet, now's your chance. This is about Aline and McKenna, and they've loved each other since they were kids. Her father finds out he is a stable boy, and she is the daughter to the Earl. The Duke? The Earl. It's Earl. It's Earl. And when her father finds out, he threatens John McKenna's life, and so she breaks up with him in a really horrible, bitchy way. He believes that she's ruined him, or that she ruined everything, that she never really loved him, and he was just a toy to her. Well, he of course has hated and loved her and pined for her all this time. He went to America, made his fortune, and now he's back to kind of get revenge. But it's very clear, and this is even a quote in the book, that the person who is in the most danger of losing their heart all over again is McKenna. Because his anger is just hurt that has been piled on top of. And it's beautiful. And I don't care that I made this fit into this category. Maybe you don't agree that it works, but I think it does. Because if you hold on to those feelings for someone for that many years, to come back and rub it in their face, you love them. You've been pining for them. That's what's happening. So there you go. Those are my recommendations for Pining Hero. There are so many that fit in this category. These are just some of my favorites. Let me know your favorite Pining Hero, and make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit like. It really helps me in the analytics. Hate to ask, but you gotta do it. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.